I wake up an African American Black woman. I can't peel it off. So I think, it's been a mixture of both, right? I would say for this year in 2023, I'm always looking for what is the words that make sense for the place that I find myself in. And I find myself at the intersection of foreign and familiar, and that is partly because of the intersections of my race, my gender, my beliefs, and other things. There have always been barriers. I think as a Black African American woman, like sometimes I don't even realize it's a barrier. Like I've watched other people jump over it, so I don't see it as a barrier. I just know you're supposed to jump at this point, right? Like that's not a barrier. That's just part of the obstacle course. You just jump here, you dive here, you run faster here, and so then there's times where you do come up against something and you're like, ooh, did y'all smell that? Did y'all see that? What was that? And it can set you back, right? You have to really reflect and say, what's most important to me? Why is this important to me? Why am I going after this? What meaning does it have to me? And part of that is saying, first I have to see if what it has meaning to me has meaning to other people, or if it really has meaning to me. Did somebody else tell me this was important, or does it really resonate with me? Is it serving me? And I also have had to say that I don't have to show up to every fight I'm invited to. Every barrier that's in front of me, I don't have to tear it down for the next person. I might just have to get over it so that I can show somebody they can get over it, or I just need to survive and I just need to get over it. If you get over it, good luck, right? I have to decide which barriers, and it's not easy, right? So self-care and having time away and having time with people who have shared lived experience is so important, right? I need to have a safe space to lay it down, to let my hair down, to be psychologically safe, right? And so, I think sometimes we think about with the intersections like, oh, this is happening and that's happening and it's tough and it's rough and I should fix it. No, I don't have to fix everything. Sometimes I just gotta survive some stuff. It's not for me to fix, it's not my work to do. And so I think, I have scars and I have wound treaters, right? So how do I refresh myself? How do I restore myself? And how do I really decide what's most important to me? And I know that it's gonna be there. So I don't also psych myself out, right? Like, I remember when I was applying for my master's program, like I put all this work into the application. I was so nervous, like, okay, I gotta make sure I write it right, and I need to put everything I've ever done under the sun on here, right? Because I remember somebody said to me, like, I wanna be equal to a mediocre white man. Like, as an African American woman, we have to have a laundry list of certificates and education and experience, and I did this and I did that, and I wore myself out and I wore myself out here and I burned out there, right? But so I did that and I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I'm gonna get in, right? And so then I remember the program coordinator was like, we want you to be in, but we looked at your application and we think maybe you're too busy. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I was trying to make sure I had enough, I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And they were like, well, we're gonna kind of conditionally let you in. And I was like, I'm gonna conditionally show you. And so when I got to the end, I ended up winning an award, 2 awards for that program, was the best celebrated student. And I wasn't there for those things, but I started to recognize that I am equally well deserved to be in the space. And I don't have to overprove myself to be in spaces. And I don't always have to make room for myself, right? I've just decided that it is either the space I'm supposed to be or either the space I'm not supposed to be, and I feel more comfortable and I get more done and I feel more accomplished in the places where I'm supposed to be than in the rooms where I'm fighting for room. So that's the intersection. It's like a crossroads, and it's ever changing, because I think there will always be times in my life where, yeah, all right, ma'am, it's time to get them boxing gloves on, get your gym shoes on, take them earrings out, because it's fighting time, right? Because we do have to be, I'm a pathway maker, and I recognize that about myself. I go where no one has gone before, cliche, but I do, and I know that I will make a pathway. It won't be a road, but it will be a pathway, and I've always kind of done that in my life. So that's me.